sharing two one-pan recipes for you guys, breakfast and dinner. So stay tuned so you can see these easy meals and get on your healthy side. So this is optional, but I'm going to start with marinating my chicken breast for my lemon garlic chicken so I can set this aside in my refrigerator while I go ahead and meal prep my breakfast. So right now I'm just going to mix in my garlic, my lemon, and all of my seasonings, and then again I'm just going to go ahead and set this aside in my refrigerator so I can get started on my turkey breakfast bowl. I went ahead and added some Valentino hot sauce, which is my absolute favorite, and I'm just going to go ahead and mix this all in together and let that sit aside for about 30 minutes while I start my breakfast. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and get started with my turkey egg scramble. So the only ingredients that you need for this is going to be potatoes, spinach, squash, eggs, and egg whites. So right now I'm just cutting up my potatoes, and I am not a professional cutter, and I'm going to go ahead and speed this up because I cut so slow, but that's not the point. As long as we are making the food and it is delicious, that's the only thing that matters, right? So we're going to go ahead and cut everything up, and we're going to add our potatoes in the pan first because the potatoes take the longest to cook. And remember, the whole purpose is killing 2 birds or 3 birds with 1 stone. We are busy women, so we're trying to do the most that we can with a little bit of time that we do have. So while these are cooking on the stove, I'm actually going to be cutting up my other ingredients and doing everything else that needs to get done so we can prepare this meal as fast as we can. So now that we got everything diced up, we're going to go ahead and get our stove started. I'm going to be adding in some olive oil for our healthy fats, and I'm going to place this on low heat to start, and I'm going to go ahead and cover the pan so we can let our potatoes absorb the most moisture and so they do not dry out. So like I said, we are killing multiple birds with 1 stone, and right now we are just going to go ahead and cut up our squash so we can go ahead and get that added. So this is going to be a beautiful, colorful breakfast meal. I personally just love adding so many different vibrant colored vegetables to my meals, and that just makes it so much more enjoyable to eat. It has so many different flavors, and overall taste of this meal is going to be so delicious. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and cut this up, and we're going to go ahead and add it to our potatoes. And because we're using so many different low carb vegetables, these meals are actually going to keep us fuller longer because they are higher in protein, they are lower in fats, and pretty moderate in carbs. So this is going to be a good meal to build muscle. So we're trying to reach our goals here. We're trying to build muscle, and this is one of the best meals that I like to make me personally to help me with my recovery days. When I go all in the gym, this is my go-to breakfast for muscle building. And of course, because I'm so busy, I like to meal prep, so this is going to last me about 3 to 4 days, and I like to store mine in the freezer so it doesn't go bad. So before I add that to my potatoes, I actually went ahead and brought some eggs and egg whites to a mixing bowl. And because with one meal I like to have 1 egg to 2 egg whites, I'm trying not to get mathematical here, but I actually added 276 grams of egg whites to my bowl along with 3 eggs. This will give me the breakdown and the same amount to last me for 3 days. So this is equivalent to 3 eggs and 6 egg whites. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add my squash to my pan. I'm going to mix everything together, and then I'm going to cover the pot and let that finish cooking. Okay, so while that's on the pot, I'm going to go ahead and bring my favorites, my spinach, over to our cutting board. And again, I am not a professional cutter, so yeah. I'm just balling everything up and I'm cutting it as best as I can. But like I said, it doesn't even matter. It's as long as we're getting the nutrition in and the food is good, that's all that matters. We're eating healthy food, so we're busy. As long as we get everything in the pot, that's all that matters. It doesn't have to look super beautiful. As long as we are getting the job done. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this up. I like to add this to my pan right before I add my spinach because you know the eggs has to be made last, of course. But you know spinach, you know how spinach loves to just shrink down. So I always be sure to make sure the spinach is the last of the vegetables that I add to my pot or pan. Okay, so I went ahead and took my russet potatoes and my squash out of the pot so I can go ahead and add my ground turkey to the pan. And this is all lean turkey and I'm going to be adding in 16 ounces, and per 4 ounce it has 22 grams of protein. So this is a great protein source. So I'm going to go ahead and mash that up before I start adding in everything else. Okay, so now that we have that nice and brown, I'm going to go ahead and add my spinach to the pot. And it might look like it's too much spinach to add to the pot, but y'all know how spinach be. That thing is going to shrink down so fast. Okay, so now I'm just going to mix everything up and I'm going to go ahead and add my eggs to the pan. And I love my eggs to be fluffy, so I usually let them sit in there for a little bit before I scramble everything together. Okay, so let's go ahead and add all of our ingredients back to the pan, and we're going to fold everything in together. So I like to add all my seasonings at the end to avoid adding too much sodium to my meals. So I'm going to go ahead and add my seasonings and continue to mix everything together. And sis, we're going to be a little bit ghetto today because the pot was a little too small and I did not want to transfer it to a bigger pan because I don't know about you, but I do not like washing dishes. So I'm going to put on the lid and I'm going to just shake everything up and we'll be good to go. And we are all finished. It smells so good. I had to do a little taste test. It tastes so delicious. And of course I had a lot of leftovers, so I just left the little bit that I had, or the lot that I had, for my husband. And I went ahead and added cheese to the top just to increase the flavor. This food was so delicious. So the macro breakdown for this meal is going to be 319 calories, 42 grams of protein, 7 grams of fat, and 19 grams of carbs. Okay, so now we are moving on to our 1-pan high protein lemon garlic chicken with bell peppers and garlic cauliflower rice. So again, to my pot I am adding extra virgin olive oil for healthy fats. I am then going to grab the chicken that we set aside to marinate and I'm going to add it to my pot. I'm going to go ahead and let that cook and I'm going to cover the lid. So I like to cut my chicken into bite-sized pieces, but to avoid it being overly dry, I like to add my chicken breast in whole and then cut them at the end so they can retain all the juiciness. So I'm going to keep an eye on my chicken. About 15 minutes after I put them in, I'm going to flip them over to the other side. Okay, so after about 30 minutes, I'm going to take out my chicken and then I'm going to go ahead and add my broccoli and my bell peppers to the juices that the chicken breasts have left. And this is going to give it a nice flavor. Okay, so while my veggies are on, I'm going to go ahead and cut my chicken into bite-sized pieces exactly like I like them. And then once I'm finished with that, I'm going to go ahead and season my veggies. Okay, so once my veggies are finished, I'm going to take them away from the heat and set them aside. I promise this might look like a lot, but it's really not because we're only using one pan to avoid all the dishes and, you know, all the extra stuff that we got to deal with when we're having multiple things on the stove at once. So we're going to go ahead and take our veggies out, and I'm going to go ahead and add the leftover juice from the chicken garlic that we had in the bowl. And I'm going to add that to my pot, and then I'm going to go ahead and add my cauliflower rice, and this is going to give it a beautiful color and flavor. And voila, this is the finished product. It smells so delicious. I wanted to go ahead and just eat that. I wanted to eat my dinner right away, but to tell myself, you have fitness goals, you're in a caloric deficit, you cannot sit here and eat all of this food. That's how good it was. I'm usually good with, you know, not overeating, but your girl was tempted. I had one sneak bite, but this is a finished product, and I'm going to give you the macro breakdown for this dinner recipe. So this meal has 352 calories, 48 grams of protein, 11 grams of fat, and 12 grams of carbohydrates. Okay guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If another one of your goals is to achieve a flat belly, I would highly recommend watching my flat belly ab workout for beginners at home, and I'll be sure to go ahead and link that above. And if you're just getting started and you want something super low impact, or if you like walking but don't like walking outside, I got you. I also have a walking video where you can get 6,000 steps in the comfort of your own home. So I'll be sure to have that play at the end of this video. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.